Welcome to our podcast, Growing Give and Take Kids, Power Traits for Life. This program is brought to you by Victoria Kendall Hodson and Mary Emma Willis of Reflective Educational Perspectives. They are founders of the Learning Success Institute and Solimar Academy Independent Study Program. They are also co-authors of Discover Your Child's Learning Style and Self-Portrait Power Traits Assessment. Their mission is to give parents and teachers the tools to empower kids to thrive in the real world by focusing on their strength, or as they call it, power traits. Please visit powertraitsforlife.com or reflectiveed.com for more information. You can also check out learningsuccessinstitute.com and solimaracademy.com.
Welcome back to Growing Give and Take Kids, Power Traits for Life. I'm Victoria Kendall Hodson, and today we will be talking about the C.A.R.E.S series, episode 4, and have a question for you. When things happen that are outside your comfort zone and you're feeling a lot of pressure, what do you do? The R in the C.A.R.E.S series stands for respond. Respond rather than react. And that's what we're going to talk about today, reactivity and responsiveness. The difference between the two, what brings them out in you, how they affect your life, and how you can choose to be more responsive than reactive. I'm going to read 3 statements, and I want you to see how you feel when you hear them. First one, when are you going to get that right? Second one, you'll probably forget, like you always do. Third one, well, if there's a way to mess it up, you'll find it. My guess is you and I would feel pretty much the same, upset, hurt, or scared, and maybe probably all 3. Would you want to spend time with this person knowing you might hear reactive comments like this at any moment? Would you trust the person who said reactive things like this? Would you feel safe in the environment where things like this were being said? No, I wouldn't. My guess is you wouldn't either. I wouldn't look forward to spending time with this person. I wouldn't trust this person, and I wouldn't feel safe in this environment. Yet, stressed parents not realizing how statements like this affect emotional safety, brain development, and learning ability of their children, they say harsh things like this all the time, and the kids are the ones feeling upset, hurt, and scared. And if there's a lot of this kind of harsh talk going on and a lot of harsh actions, the kids feel upset, hurt, and scared a lot of the time, and their environment doesn't feel safe to them. Why do we say insensitive, reactive things when it's obvious we wouldn't want anyone to say these things to us? But really, what else do we know how to do when our buttons get pushed? Have we learned anything different about what to do when we're under pressure than what we've seen others do? What did we see our parents do when they were upset? My guess is that when our parents were under pressure, most of us experienced some form of reactivity or another, including raised voices, yelling, criticism, blame, shaming, lecturing, punishment, etc. All reactive ways of interacting that make the environment seem less safe to a child. However, there is another way to interact under pressure when you've committed to growing give and take kids. Responding rather than reacting is something you can consciously choose to do. Even if it doesn't come naturally, you can learn to stop yourself when you're feeling pressured and do something quite different from usual. But first of all, you will need to get to know your hot buttons, to recognize that sometimes they are controlling you, and then choose to take the pressure off them and take back your ability to choose your actions. So, recognizing hot buttons. I've got an example here. It's partly something that actually happened to me, and it's partly hypothetical. So here it is. I was visiting my friends Janice and Roland. We had just finished dinner, and Janice and I were cleaning up the kitchen. Zach and Zoe, their junior high school age kids, were doing homework in their rooms. Roland wanted to talk with Zoe about something she said at dinner, and he went to her door, the door of her room, knocked, and went in. He found her lying on her back on her bed, reading the novel that she had been assigned by her English teacher. And from the kitchen, I could hear Roland's voice boom. "What do you think you are doing, young lady? How are you going to get anywhere if you don't study? Here you are lazing around on your bed reading a book when you should be doing your homework. I want to see you sitting at your desk right now doing what you're supposed to be doing." Then I heard Zoe, "I am studying. This is my book for English class. If you're not sitting at that desk that we spent a fortune on to buy for you, you aren't studying," yelled Roland. "Yes, I am." "No, you're not." "Yes, I am." They went back and forth. And then Zoe yelled, "I hate you. Get out of my room now." The door slammed. Roland stomped down the hall in the direction of the kitchen, and I heard sobbing coming from Zoe's room. Roland burst into the kitchen, all worked up and muttering about his kids and how they would study at their desks the way he had to when he was a kid, or else. Whoa, what happened? Well, a hot button of Roland's got too hot, shut down his ability to reason, and he was off and running in an emotional hijacking. His beliefs about how kids should study and his memories of his own early experiences suffering at his desk were triggered. And in just moments, his quiet, relaxed home was transformed into a disaster area, and the hurt feelings lasted for days, I'm sure. Come to find out later on, Roland didn't even know that he was so sensitive about desks and studying. But that's the way it is with hot buttons. Sometimes you don't even know they are there until you stumble or trip into them the way Roland did. Has anything like what happened to Roland happened with your kids? Have you ever felt out of control and hearing yourself say and do things you promised yourself you would never say or do? Have you ever done things you regretted later? Do you want to be having more fun as a parent? I imagine that some of these things ring true for most of us, and they are all signs that our reactivity has a grip on us, probably more than we realized it has or want to have. I remember a mom in one of my workshops sobbing to me, "Please help me stop yelling at my kids." She was in the grip of her own reactivity. Although she thought I would have suggestions for how to make her kids change, And she was surprised when I wanted her to look at herself. Quite often, we think the answer is in the kids. They are the problem. They are so out of control, they're making us act out. Do you hear that? They are making us act out. Trying to change our kids through reminders, criticism, rewards, and punishment is actually the long, frustrating way around and makes you more of a manager, judge, and jury for your kids than a coach, mentor, or guide. The answer is in you. When you start to get to know your reactivity and to take responsibility for it, you are on your way to a more peaceful, relaxed, and fun family life. So then the question becomes, how do I become more responsive? So basically, we have 3 suggestions. And the first one is to start getting to know your hot buttons. Those things you see and hear that stimulate old feelings and memories of old events and things people said to you, maybe even long hidden experiences that shut down the reasoning zones of your brain and call out protective, defensive, over-the-top reactive behaviors from you. Like Roland, he didn't really know that the desk was such a big deal, but he discovered it. Perhaps you have some of those kinds of things. So start to notice them. Write down your hot button issues when you recognize them. Get to know them. How often do they come up? How often do they take you over? What happens for you and your family when they take you over? The more you know about them, the more responsive you will become. Just being aware of them is enough to start disabling them. And then remember, it is really rarely the person or event in front of you that is the cause of your reactiveness. The person or event in front of you is just the stimulus. The cause is what you are thinking and remembering and what you're telling yourself about it now. Sometimes in a charged situation, it's best to do nothing except sit down with yourself, do some deep breathing, and get in touch with what or who, often from the past. Who is? What is? What are you being reminded of in the present? Number 2 suggestion here is recognize your physical symptoms of distress before your reasoning brain is hijacked and shuts down. Sometimes you'll notice a faster heartbeat when you're starting to get upset, or shallow breathing, sweaty palms, a flushed face. You'll notice your own symptoms. They're different for everybody. So the secret here is to start to take action to reduce your stress when you first notice these physical signs. You can take a deep breath. You can take a walk around the block. You could have a cup of tea or coffee. You could go work in the garden, but do something. It's crucial to know what your stress relievers are, have lots of them, and draw upon them often. And the third thing I'd like you to keep in mind is to keep your needs in mind at the same time you're taking care of your child's needs. It's so easy for parents to always put the child first. And if you aren't taking good care of yourself, as well as your child, you're going to notice the imbalance. Your needs are important, and if you're not noticing them, the pressure on your hot button issues will build up. So figure out, stop yourself first, and then figure out, what do I need in this moment? And take care of it as soon as possible. If you don't do it, you leave yourself open to being taken over by your hot buttons, and you probably won't want to go down that road again. I know there's lots of food for thought here, and I hope what I've shared encourages you to notice whether you respond or react when you're under pressure. And I hope it gives you some ideas about what you can do if you want to try something different on your path to raising give and take kids. Goodbye for now.